Scarlett Blade. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Silent Night, Memoirs of a Royal Guard, Chapter 6. Iridescence helped me polish my armor once more time as we stood in the hall of the Royal Guard Training Academy. She had volunteered to come with me for my punishment, which says a lot about her character. It was our day off. She would be out doing whatever it was she normally did in her free time, probably getting her mane done. Her mane was always perfect even after wearing that helmet. "Are you ready?" she asked me in a soothing voice. I nodded yes, which wasn't a lie. I was ready to go inside. I wasn't ready to speak. What would be worse than 60 ponies who idolize royal guards staring at you while you let them down? Oh well, never let any pony shake your cool. Iridescence bumped her flank against mine, and I walked into the classroom. I don't mind being stared at. I'm trained for that. But there were a lot of eyes staring at me. The instructor mentioned to me and said, "And right on time, as all royal guards should be." "Listen up, ponies," he said gruffly. "This is Silent Night. He isn't just a royal guard, he is one of Princess Luna's house guards, and became so right out of this very academy. We should all aspire to achieve what he has. Give him your full attention, Silent Night." He indicated to me and stepped aside. Great. Just great. I wasn't any sort of special pony. I just did my job. I happened to be on Princess Luna's house guard because I was stupid enough to volunteer. It wasn't like I was part of Princess Celestia's house guard. That thought gave me a pause, and I tilted my head to think that over a moment. Actually, why would one house guard be less than the other? That is what created Nightmare Moon in the first place, right? Ponies not giving Princess Luna her due. I smiled ever so slightly at the thought. How about that? I'm on Princess's house guard, I thought. My princess was as good as any other princess. They were equals. It was in that moment that I felt satisfied. I had achieved my dream already. Perhaps I was a special pony. My ears twitched, catching the sound of a soft cough. Silent Night? The instructor repeated, snapping me back to reality. How long had I been standing there without saying a word? I cursed my internal monologue. Okay, it was show time. Iridescence had helped me with my lecture by drilling it into me. Just memorize this, stand there, and repeat it, she had coached. That is exactly what I was going to do. I nodded to the instructor. No need to suspect I was daydreaming. My silence was just making a point about the weight of my lecture. "Thank you," I said before I started. That was only fitting. Looking out at the group of ponies that were not much younger than myself, I began, "As a trainee of the academy, you will learn many skills. You also learn many procedures. Skills become muscle memory, and procedures become routine. They make up two halves of a guard's knowledge that you must be able to execute without thinking," I said. So far, so good. What challenges us as royal guards is the fact that sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where your hard-trained skills do not apply. You'll face a problem where you must deviate from your routine. That is when you must use your most important weapon. To make the point stick, I lifted my hoof and tapped my helmet. Your mind. I paused for dramatic effect and paced back and forth in front of the room. You will not be trained for every possible situation, nor could you be. It is because at every fact that you must prepare yourself by strengthening your mind. You must have faith in yourself that you can make good decisions with the information you have on hoof. When you face those challenges outside of the norm, and you will, always keep your eyes on what is most important. What is the basis of our duty? To protect. I raised my voice for that bit, just like Iridescence had. I held that tone for just a minute more. Take responsibility and make choice. Make the best one you can to ensure that whomever or whatever you're protecting will be safe first and foremost. Sometimes that means deviating from procedure. That very idea was frightening to me, and it should be to you as well. Fear is okay. Fear keeps you alert. Terror is your enemy. Terror will paralyze you with indecision, and no decision is the greatest danger. Control your fear, and as long as you use your mind to keep your eye on your duty, you'll know the right thing to do. I paused once again to let that point sink in. But, and I do want to stress this, do not make it a habit of breaking procedures. If you do so, you could be relieved of duty, imprisoned, or even be required to speak in front of trainees. Although, you probably shouldn't say the last part. Thank you. I finished and walked out of the classroom without looking back. In the hall, I found Iridescent staring at me wide-eyed. She had both her hooves against her mouth and looked like a pony that desperately needed to laugh but was holding back out of politeness. What? I asked. I stood silently, doing my best to blend into the wall. Princess Luna had been busy with decorating and making her space her own. Her office and chambers were now a light shade of purple. It didn't quite match my armor, but it was close enough, and I willed it to do so, or it could blend in better. Of course, I should note that white Pegasi tend to stand out against purple walls. Silent night? Blast, my camouflage attempt had failed. Perhaps next time I'd hide inside of a box. Yes, princess, I responded. The princess levitated a parchment my way and asked, Would thou read this and tell us what thou thinks? What I thought? Who cares what I thought? I'm just a guard. I don't have any opinion on official documents. I should tell her that, and it would be inappropriate for me to. Yes, princess, I replied, and then I swore at my mouth. The parchment arrived, and I lifted a hoof to balance it. I read through it and was utterly confused. Well? The princess asked, a hint of nervousness in her voice. I was quiet for a moment longer and then said, Princess, it seems like a very interesting account of some pony named Daring Do and a dragon. Are we at risk of dragon attacks? When did this occur? I will inform the captain after my shift. Princess Luna floated the parchment back to her desk, smiling. Thou likes it, then? Tilting my head, I said, It was very accurate and clear. I don't know that I like the idea of a dragon may attack. The princess laughed. I notice a lot of ponies laugh around me when I do speak. Fear not, Silent Knight, 'tis but a work of fiction. A false report, princess? Who would do such a thing? I replied. More laughter. It was nice to see her laugh. She was often so serious, although why she was laughing at me I didn't understand. Thou art too serious, Silent Knight. We wrote this. It is fanfiction. Was the princess admitting that during all the time she seemed to be working she was, in actual, just writing false reports? That didn't seem right. Surely she did some work. I sensed that she saw my confusion mostly because she said, Thou still look confused. Perhaps we should elaborate. Please, princess, I wanted to get to the bottom of this. Filing false reports was a crime, after all. It is stressful for us now that our royal duties have been resumed. We also do not... She paused and thought for a moment. Have many social engagements yet. As such, we write stories to entertain ourselves. 'Tis truly for fun, not mischief. That made more sense and was far less treasonous than I originally imagined. You write stories like mothers read to foals, I said, in understanding, or so I thought. Nay, Silent Knight, she said seriously, our stories are not for foals. They are for ponies of all ages who like adventure and intrigue. Even royal guards may read them and enjoy. Literature was not really my strong suit. When I was at the Canterlot Secondary School, I focused more on easily applied skills. Reading and writing clearly are important. I mastered that, but never took an interest in poetry and fiction. That wasn't a lot there to translate it into royal guard skills. If the princess said they were for every pony, then it was so. I nodded, and instead of just leaving it at that, for some reason I said, You called this fan fiction, princess. I did not recall a fan being in your story. Thou art quite literal, she said. The character Daring Do is not our creation, nay, a wonderful writer by the name of A.K. Yearling created her and created many books about her heroism. Those books are known and beloved all across the land. We are a fan of these books, and it is not uncommon for literary-minded fans, such as we, to take a character and write their own stories. It helps grow the fiction, and many build communities around these stories. That was interesting to me, that you could take somebody else's work and expand on it. And that is acceptable to do, Princess? Even though you did not originally create Daring Do, or in your stories may not be what the original creator wanted? The princess nodded happily and said, "Verily, this is so thanks to Equestria's weak copyright laws and the absence of a giant mouse corporation that compels bureaucrats to extend such rights well beyond what is reasonable." To be honest, I didn't understand half of what she had just said, but I think I got the gist. It was simple. Score 1 for the little guy. Well, then I hope you guys have had a wunderbar day. That was quite fun. Peace off.